Today we're going to be talking about a very serious charge in the state of Florida, and that's battery on a law enforcement officer. Some people might think that that's just assault on a law enforcement officer, but there is a distinction between battery and assault. Both are very serious charges, and they're felonies. First, a law enforcement officer has to be identifiable as a law enforcement officer or has identified themselves as a law enforcement officer, and the person has committed a battery. Well, what can a battery be? A harmful or offensive touching. So if an officer is trying to effectuate an arrest and you say, hey, pal, take it easy. Well, that touching, that's battery on a law enforcement officer. It's also, in more common situation, it could be just punching an officer. But the things that you may not know is that you don't even have to have contact with an officer to have an assault on a law enforcement officer. So if you take a swing at them and miss, that's an assault on a law enforcement officer. Now, let's talk about some other similar charges that happen quite frequently around the same time or the same kind of event. If you're being arrested and you resist with violence, it could also be a battery on a law enforcement officer. But if you're pushing away or you're creating a difficulty for the officer and it's physical in nature, that could be resisting with violence. That is also a felony. Now, let's say you're resisting without violence and you're simply just stiffening your arms or trying to hide them so that you can't get cuffed. That's resisting without violence, and that's just a misdemeanor. The key is that all of these charges are very serious, and there could be defenses, as we discussed before. If the law enforcement officer hasn't identified themselves or has no markings that they are law enforcement, then you can't be guilty of battery on a law enforcement officer. So there are things that an attorney with experience can do if you are charged with this particular charge. If you want to know more about your charge of battery on a law enforcement officer, assault on a law enforcement officer, or quite frankly, any criminal charge in the state of Florida, you can download our book, My Loved One's Been Arrested, What's Next? You can download one of our legal guides that's available on our website. You can scour our frequently asked questions, or you could contact us today and set up a consultation.